Have you ever noticed how some women walk into a room and everything automatically changes? It's as if their presence brings a new energy, a silent force that doesn't need to be announced, but naturally asserts itself, transforming the environment, attracting attention, and even creating opportunities. This is the true essence of feminine energy, a subtle yet profoundly transformative power that is often underestimated because it isn't expressed in shouting or brute force, but rather in magnetism, sensitivity, confidence, and a presence that cannot be ignored. Contrary to what many think, feminine energy isn't fragility, it isn't submissiveness, it isn't something lesser. On the contrary, it's a powerful force that influences not only how you relate to yourself, but also how the world responds to you. Imagine for a moment how many situations have changed simply because you chose to act calmly instead of reacting angrily, or because you chose to listen instead of interrupting, or because your posture conveyed confidence even when you were silent. It is precisely at this point that the magic of feminine energy resides. A unique ability to generate impact without needing to force, to lead without needing to dominate, to inspire without needing to compete. And if you sometimes feel that this energy is dormant within you, know that this video is the perfect invitation to awaken it. Because when you learn to use your feminine energy authentically, everything changes. Your relationships become lighter, your self-esteem grows, your presence is remembered, and you begin to attract situations that seem coincidental but are actually a result of the vibration you are emitting. So I want you to be part of this transformation right now. Write the word energy. Here in the comments, you'll show that you're open to awakening and strengthening this power that already exists within you. This simple action isn't just a gesture, it's a commitment to yourself, a sign that you choose to be the protagonist of your own life, cultivating what makes you unique, magnetic, and unforgettable. There was a woman named Clara who, whenever she entered any room, commanded attention without raising her voice, without wearing extravagant clothes, without trying to prove anything to anyone. She simply was. Her serene posture, her firm yet welcoming gaze, and the way she listened more than she spoke, made those around her naturally seek her presence. It wasn't about stunning beauty, or having the perfect word at the right time, but about something much deeper, authenticity. Clara knew who she was, didn't try to compete, didn't diminish herself before anyone, and because of this, she exuded an undeniable magnetism. Her feminine energy became a silent language, almost invisible yet felt by all. It's interesting to observe how, when a woman connects with herself, when she feels secure in her own skin, her presence speaks before any words are even spoken. This strength cannot be bought. It cannot be copied because it doesn't come from outside. It arises from within, from the relationship a woman builds with herself. That's why the secret to true feminine presence isn't impeccable makeup, a perfect body, or following a set of behaviors society insists on imposing. The true secret lies in inner security, in the quiet confidence of knowing one's worth, even when no one recognizes it. Many women believe they need to be seen to feel valuable, but the reverse is true. It's when you recognize your own worth that others automatically begin to see it too. And here lies an essential point. Presence isn't about seeking approval, but about becoming so whole within yourself that your energy becomes undeniable. Authentic people attract respect because they don't live to please, but rather to be true to themselves. This inspires, this magnetizes, and this creates an atmosphere around them that even those who don't fully understand can sense. When a woman is at peace with who she is, without needing to shout to be noticed, the whole world seems to adjust to her rhythm. And this is the beauty of femininity, transforming by example, guiding by authenticity, touching by truth. Now, I want you to imagine what it would be like to walk into a space, and before you even speak, feel your energy already communicating confidence, serenity, and authenticity. Imagine how people would react if they sensed this firm yet welcoming presence in you, one that doesn't need to prove anything, because it already knows where its own value comes from. This is possible for you, and it starts with simple choices, getting to know yourself better, silencing the external voices that tell you how to be, and connecting deeply with the woman you already are. This is the journey of those who decide to activate their true feminine energy, not just to be admired, but to be remembered for the impact they make. So if you want your presence to speak before your words, I want you to write the word in the comments now. Presence. This gesture is like a signal that you're ready to let your energy flow naturally and authentically, and that you're committed to cultivating this effortless power to be felt. Because deep down, you already carry within you everything you need to be magnetic, respected, and admired. And this is just the beginning of your transformation. Many women grew up believing that showing vulnerability was synonymous with weakness, as if revealing their emotions or admitting weaknesses diminished their value or put them at a disadvantage in front of others. But the truth is exactly the opposite. Vulnerability is, at its core, an act of courage. It takes a lot of strength to show yourself authentically, without masks, without needing to uphold the image of perfection that society so often imposes on us. When you allow others to see beyond your achievements, your firm posture, or even the smile on your face, you create a connection that is impossible to generate when living solely on the surface. Vulnerability is what makes us human. It's what awakens identification. It's what opens space for other women to feel safe sharing their own stories. Because deep down, we all know that behind the armor lies a heart that feels, that makes mistakes, that learns, and that is precisely what makes us so powerful. By opening your heart and allowing yourself to be seen as you truly are, you awaken something very special in people: empathy. Think about how many times you've reached out to someone, not because of your unwavering strength, but because they had the courage to share a pain, a fear, or an insecurity you've also felt. These moments create genuine bonds, connections that aren't superficial, but endure, because they're based on truth. Vulnerability connects us in a way nothing else can. It's in this space of sincerity that deep friendships, healthy relationships, and even inspiring leadership are born. When a woman shows that, despite her strength, she also has moments of fragility, she doesn't lose respect. On the contrary, she earns even more admiration. This is because people see in her a real, human, approachable figure, someone they can identify with and approach without fear. It's this combination of authenticity and courage that transforms vulnerability into a gentle yet overwhelming force, capable of impacting and transforming entire environments. And here, I want to invite you to reflect. How many times have you failed to show yourself for fear of judgment? How many opportunities to create true connections have you missed because you believed you had to appear strong all the time? The good news is that you can change that starting now. By embracing your vulnerability, you free yourself from the pressure of being perfect and begin to experience much lighter, sincere, and more meaningful relationships. The gentle power of vulnerability opens doors, brings hearts closer, and shows that you don't need to prove anything to deserve respect or love. So if you believe that vulnerability is power, comment below. Soft force. This simple gesture is the first step toward affirming to yourself and the world that you understand the value of being authentic, that you're willing to allow yourself to be seen as you truly are, and that you trust your own feminine energy to create deep and transformative bonds. Because ultimately, it's in this openness, in this space of authenticity and courage, that you find not only the strength to connect with others, but also the strength to reconnect with yourself. When we talk about feminine energy in relationships, we often think only of romance, but in reality, it manifests in all types of bonds: friendship, family, work, and of course, romantic relationships. Feminine energy has the power to transform because it is welcoming, receptive, and creates a space where people feel they can be their true selves. When a woman is connected to this side of herself, she doesn't need to force attention or respect because it naturally awakens it in others. There's a huge difference between imposing authority and inspiring respect, and feminine energy acts precisely in this second direction. It's the kind of presence that calms, opens space for dialogue, encourages truth, and makes even the most closed-off people feel confident enough to open up. It's impressive how, when a woman chooses to vibrate with this energy, everything around her falls into balance. And this doesn't mean submission, but rather a powerful influence. She becomes a fulcrum, a center of connection that transforms the quality of relationships. A clear example of this is when a woman in a loving relationship lets go of the need to control everything and begins to trust in her power to inspire. Imagine a partner who, instead of engaging in ego battles or arguing over who's right, chooses to act calmly, firmly, and acceptingly. This attitude awakens in the other a natural desire to respond, respect, and protect. It's as if masculine energy finds the perfect space to express itself when feminine energy is in balance, because the masculine needs direction and security, while the feminine offers space, acceptance, and inspiration. It's not a power play, but a game of harmony. When a woman understands this, she realizes she can influence not by imposition, but by magnetism. It's at this point that trust grows, admiration blossoms, and the relationship, instead of being a battlefield, becomes a partnership where both partners grow. This transformation doesn't just happen in love, but also in friendships and even in the workplace, because everyone responds positively when they encounter someone who exudes security and truth. Now stop and think. What would your relationships be like if you chose to connect more deeply with your feminine energy? Imagine entering any interaction without the need to prove yourself, but simply trusting your essence, transmitting calm, acceptance, and firmness at the same time. Imagine how this would change the way others see you, how they would feel more comfortable, more confident, and even more respectful just by being by your side. This is the magic of feminine energy. It doesn't compete, it inspires. It doesn't control, it balances. It doesn't demand, it awakens the best in others. And the most beautiful thing is that this force is already within you, just waiting to be awakened and used consciously. So if you want to transform your relationships with more lightness, balance, and connection, leave the word now in the comments. Transform. This simple act is already a first step in your commitment to yourself, a sign that you are ready to live healthier, deeper, and truer relationships, based on the mutual respect and admiration that only an authentic feminine presence can generate. Feminine energy carries within it a powerful key, the ability to access creativity and intuition naturally and profoundly. It's as if this force is always available, just waiting to be awakened. When a woman connects with her feminine energy, she begins to see the world differently, perceiving innovative solutions to long-standing problems and bringing forth ideas that often escape rigid logic. Feminine creativity isn't just about arts or crafts, but about the ability to create paths, generate alternatives, and transform everyday situations with a more sensitive and broad vision. How many times have you solved something not because you followed a ready-made formula, but because you listened to that inner whisper that told you exactly where to begin? This is feminine energy in action. A creative force that doesn't depend on external rules, but rather on a deep trust in one's own feelings. Trusting your intuition is undoubtedly a superpower that many women overlook because they've been taught to prioritize only reason, logic, and what can be clearly explained. But the truth is that intuition works like an internal compass, picking up invisible signals and guiding important decisions even before the mind can understand why. It manifests itself in that shiver that says, "This place isn't safe," in that feeling that a certain person deserves your trust, or in that creative impulse that seems to come from nowhere but opens doors you never imagined. When you learn to listen to this inner voice, you realize it's infallible because it's aligned with your essence and your purpose. This self-confidence generates a magnetic force that not only helps you make personal choices, but also impacts your relationships, your career, and even your life projects. The world tries to convince us that intuition is fragile or fanciful, but in reality, it's one of the greatest sources of power a woman can cultivate, as it allows her to live with more ease, but also with greater assertiveness. Now, imagine living guided by this creative and intuitive connection in all areas of your life. What would it be like to solve challenges without exhaustion, creating different solutions, and even surprising those who can't see what you see? What would it be like to trust your heart more than external noise, setting aside opinions that only generate insecurity and choosing what truly makes sense to you? This is the freedom that feminine energy offers, the freedom to create your own reality with authenticity, to innovate without fear, and to live according to your intuition, even when the world doesn't understand. And the more you strengthen this inner bond, the more you become a creative, inspiring, and confident woman, someone who not only solves problems, but also generates new possibilities for herself and those around her. So, if you believe in this power and want to further awaken your ability to listen to your inner voice, leave a comment below. Intuition. This gesture is a way of declaring that you choose to trust yourself, that you understand the value of your feminine energy, and that you are ready to live with more creativity, innovation, and authenticity, letting your light inspire the world in a unique and transformative way. Having reached this point, I want you to pause for a moment and realize how much we've talked about the power of feminine energy and how it can transform every aspect of your life. We're not talking about a detail, something superficial or a passing fad, but rather a vital force that completely changes how you see yourself and how the world responds to you. Feminine energy isn't just a compliment. It's the foundation that supports your relationships, your career, your self-esteem, and even how you deal with everyday challenges. When a woman connects with this energy, she begins to see new possibilities, naturally attracts respect, and begins to live a life more aligned with her essence. This is the key to true transformation, stopping trying to fit into imposed molds and finally allowing yourself to be who you truly are. That's why this video isn't just a conversation, but an invitation for you to look within and decide to live from your authenticity, your intuition, your gentle magnetic strength that's always been there, just waiting to be awakened. Because when you reconnect with your feminine energy, there's no more room for begging for presents, settling for less than you deserve, or living with insecurities that don't reflect who you are. You discover you can build healthier relationships, achieve a purposeful career, and live with solid self-esteem without depending on anyone's validation. This is true empowerment, the kind that doesn't need to be shouted to be perceived, because it's felt by everyone around you. If this content resonated with you, I want you to comment below. Female transformation. This is your way of telling yourself that you are ready to truly live this, to take your power, and to allow this energy to guide your next steps. And before I close, I want to ask you for something very special. Share this video with another woman you feel needs this message. It could be a friend, a sister, a co-worker, or even someone you admire, but who may not yet have realized the power they carry within. Sometimes, A single word can be the spark that awakens a new awareness, and you can be that channel of transformation in someone's life. Imagine how many women could change their way of life if they understood that feminine energy is not weakness, but the force that transforms everything. So, take this message forward and help create a network of more confident, authentic women connected to their true value. Because when one woman transforms, she paves the way for many others to do the same. And together, we can illuminate the world with a new form of strength, the power of feminine energy lived to the fullest.